What we are trying to answer the question, what makes impactful and effective leadership? The theme of this workshop is high performance. And I think that's what we will have to think about for the next one hour. I want to kind of look at performance leadership as the backbone of leadership. Then we'll do an exercise. Then you'll commit to having, we'll talk about committing to have performance management system. That you can't have good performance leadership if you're not committed to performance management. I'll mention a few things about the balanced scorecard, mentality, and then I'll talk about attitude, the right attitude to leadership that can give you performance. Then you are going to do the second exercise. And then I'll talk about, if you really want high performance, the importance of focusing to building relationships, which I've already made mention of in my previous discussion. And I will try to go down to skills you require for you to be a high performer. And that's basically what we will be looking at as in the next while, assuming the screen does not stop me from moving. Stopping to move, but I will try again. So I want to start by mentioning that performance leadership is the backbone of leadership. Because the question is, why would you want to be a leader if you don't want to perform? So as you talk about leadership generally, which we did earlier, we need to talk about you are a leader to something. You know, the colonialists called Kenyatta a leader to darkness because he wanted to throw them out of the country and they thought he is a leader to darkness. But you always are leading to somewhere. Because the word lead means going ahead to somewhere. And your ability to carry the group with you is what you are calling leadership. So the backbone of performance leadership is the backbone of any leadership. You know, first-line managers must inspire their employees to high performance. It's one of your most important things. You know, like I said, I gave you experience. When you have your job, you are doing it all alone. Then all you need is for you to be inspired. The moment you become a supervisor, you have a second job. Not only for you to be passionate in what you do, but to pass that passion to others. And so if you really want high performance of the team, not of you alone, but of the team, you must underline that word, inspire. Performance leadership is the heart and spirit of leadership. And first-line managers must take it seriously and have this kind of attitude. It is the human side of what we do as leaders. You know, leadership of a high-performance organization is committed to organization for the long haul. Do you want to be high performance? You cannot be a high performer looking at the nose, you know, the immediate. You must always see where you are now, what you are doing today, in the light of tomorrow. See everything in perspective. The decision you make day to day will be made on the basis of what is their long-term impact. Not on how does it help. You are recruiting someone. You are not recruiting for the immediate vacancy. You are recruiting him to join the bus that's going in the long term. There is a commitment in the leadership to seeing long term, always thinking long term. And even when they do their strategic plan, they look long term, then they look at 5 years, then they look at 1 year. So you must balance common purpose with self-interest. You know, your interest may be the salary, but as a leader, you must balance yourself with the survival and long-term achievement of the organization. You must be teaching organization members to put the needs of the enterprise as a whole first. That's really where you will get high achievement. But when everybody is trying to achieve their own small things, there will be lack of teamwork, and there will be lack of commitment to the long-term achievement of the organization. So if we are talking about high performance leadership, it's a leadership that gets everybody to concentrate, not just in the immediate, but long-term. And for them to understand how what they are doing today impacts what the achievements of tomorrow. The job description will be written in such a way that they show how this particular job contributes to the long-term achievement of the vision of the organization. Because that's basically what you... So performance leadership is the backbone if you are going to be an achieving organization. You know, high performance leader is one who is intentional about their leadership, which is the second thing I want to say. You don't just happen to lead. It is something you think through. Every morning you think about, what is it do I need to do today in order for the organization to, or my team or my project to achieve the long-term view. It's in intentional leadership. And you don't just happen to do it, I say. You know, they are not a leader because their position entitles them to be. It is something they have committed themselves to. Because obviously you can be the manager of the department, and so that's what you happen to be. But you don't have a leadership view of the department. How is your department contributing to the long-term achievement of the organization? Maybe one of the leadership aspirations of the organization is to grow. What are you doing today that will help the organization to grow? You know, such high-performance leaders see leadership as a verb, something you are doing, not a title, something you are called. You know, I'm the leader here. So they see it as a doing. Leadership is doing, a skill to continue to develop and hone in. So you see yourself as a learner on a continuous basis, because you see yourself as a doer. That means that as a leader, you will not be nyapara. There will be in the team activities, there will be something you yourself are doing. And when you come to report, everybody will be reporting what they are doing. The leader is also reporting what they allocated to themselves. Because they see leadership as doing. They are setting an example. They are modeling what they want the team to be achieving. You know, high-performance leaders operate with a growth mindset. They are not just trying to maintain where the organization is. That requires managers, not leaders. So in order to achieve that growth mindset, they become great communicators, because that vision has to be communicated right up to the messengers and the people sweeping the floors. They must see themselves as contributing to the vision of the organization. So this growth mindset means they operate within a growth perspective. I want us to spend a bit of time again as a group, like so we can learn a lot from each other. Because we are managers, we are knowledgeable. So instead of learning from me, let's learn from each other. The first question is, who is mostly held responsible for the performance of your organization and why? Think about your organization or any organization. Who is held responsible? So when things go bad, what do you say? Oh, we have bad workers here. Who is it? And why? Why is he held responsible? Or, put it differently, who should be held responsible for the performance of organization? And whatever you say, tell us why. Second question, why is it better to work for an organization with a structured performance management system than one without? In other words, we are saying leadership involves performance management. Now I'm looking at you as staff. Why, if you are looking for a job somewhere, why, and there are two of them offering about the same salary, why would you rather go to one where there is a performance management structure rather than where the boss just decides who to give a promotion, who to give a salary increase or bonus? There's no system, there's no structure. I hope the questions are clear, and so we can start sharing in the... Now we want to go to people that did not mention anything in the last one. Joyce Maura, did you talk?
No, I did not talk.
So is it okay? Not everybody will talk, so everybody will write, but I think I'll select you, say something. Michael said something. Fide Omware write something. Dennis, I think, didn't write something. But everybody is supposed to write, but I just especially want to mention the people that have not talked or written something. Okay, let's start.
Okay, I would say performance management system gives direction. So as a staff are working, they know where they're heading to, and accountability.
Okay. That's a good one. Somebody else? You can write or unmute and talk. Anybody else? Irene says a performance management system brings in the aspect of accountability and personal responsibility. So I assume, Irene, you are saying you don't want to work in a place where there is no performance management system. You like a structured system. Am I right, Irene?
Yes, Nana, yes, you're correct.
Okay, Catherine says performance management motivates team and promotes fairness. So, but you are now talking as a manager, I guess, Catherine. As a staff, are you happy to be managed, to be supervised, to be measured? And I'm asking everybody to talk as staff, not as supervisor. Why, as a staff member, who is not the leader, not the manager, why would you want to work in such a place? I also want to know who should be held accountable for the performance, mostly, and why. Somebody else, I think Catherine again, says performance management motivates team and also promotes fairness. That's why she would want to work there. And the leaders of an organization are responsible for the performance. The tone at the top should set the example. So why? I agree with you, but why? Elizabeth Tirop says structured performance system brings ownership of responsibilities. Does the staff really want to own? Anybody else? Keep writing. We are talking about performance management, but we are talking about a leader who is able to get high performance. Anybody, even those who wrote earlier, please write. We are learning from one another. Dennis, do you want to say something? Oh, you have. So you would like to work where there is a structured performance management because it will boost your engagement. Okay, you have. I can see what you have said. Joshua says the CEO is mostly held responsible for performance management in an organization. He is the lead servant. He is meant to motivate the team and lead all the rest. So when they fail, it means he was unable to inspire them. That's why he is being held accountable for the failure of everybody. That's good, Joshua. Michael says a rigid performance management system may lead to loss of time as you are required to keep uploading your activities instead of focusing on the work. Yeah, I knew there certainly not everything is necessarily positive. So he would rather you don't measure people because it has some negative aspects of too much time spent on filling forms. But I guess the assumption is you can't have a structured system without filling those forms on a continuous basis. But that's something important. If you are a leader, that will be something you have to look at. Are you asking people to spend half of their time filling forms instead of doing the job they have been employed to do? And I think that's a very, thank you very much for putting that in. Michael. Mase Duo says, I'm assuming you're talking about a good management system. It helps one track their performance consistently. So you'd like to be in a place where this is measured, so I can track your performance consistently and measurably. One works effectively towards achieving set goals. It can be a great platform for regular and frequent feedback on performance. So it's worth filling those forms. Then Michael Modi says, performance management system brings in the element of checks and balances and helps employees keep focus on their key deliverables. So that means if they really want to be achievers, if you're motivated by achievement, PMS will help you. And then employees, Massey says, employees are better aligned with corporate goals when there is a clear performance management system. And then Patrick says, PMS should be fluid so that it's not an extra role. Don't make it like another item in the job description. So it should be fluid, whatever that means. But all these are the things we are suggesting to each of you, because you are all going to be required to be leaders who bring out performance. You are performance leaders with high performance. And anybody else, just before we break? Those are all very, very good suggestions. Happy says, performance system helps management to track strategic milestones and guide future implementation. It also helps enforce accountability, which the staff may not want. Happy. So it is. So anyway, let me go into my presentation. But the point I wanted to draw out of this is that you cannot be a leader if you are not helping the team to achieve more this year than they achieved last year. That's what we are calling high performance. Continuous improvement in high performance standards. And that we are suggesting will not happen if there is no measurement. They say what is measured is what gets done. I work for Shell, and every 5 years, it's a multinational. We used to have business process, BPR, business process reengineering, which is really looking at the whole organization and setting up direction. My friend, it meant that every time so many people would get redundancies in the process. And one of the things that would help you to know who to drop off the bus and who to retain is a clear performance management, because then it ensures that you are leaving people who can actually perform. As a leader, that is really very, very critical. And as we are going to do redundancies, when there is a team that is trusted, even people going will know they are going for a good reason. It's not unfairness. The thing that will kill performance is unfairness. The moment I realize that you are promoting the lazy person, all of us in the department know who is lazy, and they are the ones getting promoted. We ask for what? Even me, I will stop working. So good performance leadership is creating fairness that ensures rewards are only given to people who truly performed. And the way you identify performance is transparent and clear to everybody. That's really what we are trying to mention here. And hoping that all of us as leaders will take that seriously. So your staff, the people you are working with, do they feel you are fair and that you reward only the best performer, or do they feel that you cannot be trusted? You are promoting the wrong people. You know, what I'm saying is that we need to commit to have a management system. You cannot be a high performer in your leadership if there is no performance management system. Let me try to approach the thing in 3 different directions. Why is a leader instituting for his department, for his project, a performance management system? What is the benefit to the employer? Why should an employer not want to run an organization without performance system? You know, if you really want to realize the organization mission by improved performance, then remember, what gets measured gets done. One of the redundancies that we experience in Shell, I told you about my initial job, I was a supervisor of about 5 people. After the BPR, after the business process reengineering, we were told we can actually do those same things with only, I think I was left with 2 people. My friend, we worked, it just meant working at night because we have the same expectations. And it was a very difficult time. But I realized I would collapse at a very early age. That was in the early 1980s. And that's when I realized I must find out what my boss, I was a business analyst, and what my boss really needs, I give him. Don't worry about the job description. What does he really need? So I started slowly dropping some of the reports I used to prepare. But nobody asked for them. That meant even when I used to send them, they were not adding value. Within 3 months, I now knew what mattered. Performance management is what makes you know what is critical to the organization and what is not. So any employer will want a performance management system because that way he is able to tell the staff what matters for the long-term success of the organization. But you know the other thing it does? It reduces time wasters. Because the moment you tell a staff exactly what is needed, like working in the 1970s in Shell, doing many things, doing some things that have always been done by that job. But now with the proper reduction, time wasters have to go because you only do what matters. If we are not going to measure how many telephone calls I did, I have achieved with the less number of telephone calls. The reducing time wasters will ensure that everybody is performing. And system PMS is what helps you to know what matters and what does not matter. So you remove time wasters. But you know something? Like God, celebrating of small wins motivates for the long-term wins. You know, if you are, I don't know whether the Quran has it, but the Bible has the creation story. And God did not wait to celebrate after he has created man. What he created on the first day, he looked at it and said, it is good. The second day he created again and he said, it is good. He celebrated every day. A good PMS does not celebrate right at the end. It set itself to catch people doing good, acknowledging them, congratulating them, crediting them. And if you create that kind of a system, and therefore people see they are celebrating small wins, it will motivate them for the long-term wins. So anybody who cares about the performance of his organization will be the first to introduce some management system. That way, number one, I've told you, you create fairness. Number two, you remove time wasters. Number three, you'll be able to congratulate the right people rather than just anybody when you're trying to be politically correct. Put it differently. What about to staff? Why should you want to work for a leader who has a management system? Remember we said a leader has followers. Why would people want to follow you if you create a performance management system? I suggest 3 benefits. Number one, it ensures reward not on favoritism, but on performance. Now, of course, if you think you'll be favored, you might not want it. But many of us don't know because the boss needs only to hear a story in a bar or somewhere about me and change. But a good PMS disempowers the boss. He cannot reward somebody who is not meeting the achievement because they are transparent, they are clear. So it ensures reward is not on the guy who bought you a drink. It ensures the rewards are not for the girl who smiled to you. There is a system. So you can continue smiling with that girl, but you'll not get any bonus because the system does not allow the boss to give the people they like. That will motivate any hard worker, anybody who enjoys working, anybody who values achievement, will want to work where I am not at the mercy of the boss. If, for example, the bonus is going to Mombasa, I can even promise my wife this year, I'm taking you to Mombasa. Why? I know I work hard and I know what I need to do. A good PMS, that you don't depend on your boss. You agree with your boss at the beginning of the year. What you need to achieve, exactly by how much, and once you commit yourself to achieve it, you achieve it. The bonus is automatically yours. So you can direct your own career. So it gives you independence of action. And then finally, what I said earlier, reduces the power of the boss over staff, since work performance determines promotion, not when you are liked. So your career is in your hands. Of course, many bosses will try to interfere with the PMS, but only if they are not committed to the future of that organization. Because the organization now will keep the right type of people. Because the guys that are lazy and performers will resign. Because they wonder, that guy we were earning the same last year, now he is earning more, now I can't work here. So it kind of removes the people that are not performers and keeps the people that are performers. So a good high-performing leader or somebody who values high performance will certainly want to have PMS, but even the staff who wants to be in charge of his career, not involved in bootlicking, but rather his performance will drive him, will want to work in such a place. But maybe I can also ask for you as a supervisor, and I say the manager is a supervisor, why would you want to ensure that your department or your project, they are clear performance management system? It's because it will help keep the main thing the main thing. You know, once you are clear with your staff what it is, you will not start telling them do this or do the other or get me a cup of tea. No. Even if they get you a cup of tea, it's not in the measurement. So it helps the staff and yourself to keep the main thing, and that reduces conflict. It reduces your supervisory time, so you can also do what you have located yourself to do, rather than be always on the neck of the people, because the system is self-managing, because they are clear. You just look, if you check at the end of every month or at the end of every quarter or the end of every half year, you wait, and you are available to help, but the people know they can achieve with themselves. So you don't spend all your time supervising, because you have set up a system that runs itself. And you know, what I'm saying is it reduces misunderstanding. You're not being to always trying to sort out conflict. And it allows an acceptable reward system. You know, if you have a reward system that's not acceptable, people will not be motivated. And yet the reward system was set to motivate, but it doesn't achieve what it is set out to do. So the reward system acts as a motivator for the right candidates. It keeps the right people and removes the wrong people. And in order to have a good performance management system, a leader will try to use the balanced scorecard mentality. Even if you don't use the particular one, that's the mentality you have. In other words, you don't just measure one in one way. You measure them in all ways. In a balanced scorecard, you do not measure one. Everybody is measured on what is he contributing financially. Then you ask, what is he contributing in the internal business processes? Then you ask, what is he contributing in the learning and growth and helping staff to improve, helping each other? What is he doing? And then you check, what about the client, the customer? What is he contributing? Even if you're in marketing, we'll still measure you in your contribution in the other 3 areas. That way, you don't have an organization that's going to be lopsided. And that is very important. You know, in a good measurement system, as a leader, the following will be met with. The company's mission statement will be used to measure whether you are going to the right direction. The company's strategic plan and vision will be used. That in the process, the financial status of the organization will improve. How the organization is currently structured and operating will be improved on a continuous improvement basis. And the level of expertise of the employees will improve, because learning and growth means you are going to invest in improving your staff on a continuous basis as a leader. And what happens? You are measuring whether the customer satisfaction index is improving over time. That's what a good performance management system does. And a good leader will need to be doing exactly that. But in addition to that, a high performance leader will have the right attitude to leadership itself. Remember, some others equally qualified will work under you. You are not you are just one among equals. With the wrong attitude, a leader starts assuming that they are the best. In fact, you wonder, I left so-and-so, the university with so-and-so. Can you see I'm his boss? What you don't know is you know something. That's for sure. But the reason why you are promoted is because you have skills in coordinating people. But on the technical area, somebody who was not promoted may be better than you. If you do not recognize his technical expertise and that he knows even better than you, you'll not give him credit. So his performance will not improve. So the first thing is your attitude as a leader. Do you think that because you are the boss, you will know everything? The truth is you don't. For example, you have become a manager, but you used to be 3 supervisors. When the boss left, resigned, one of you had to be promoted. But you are good in your particular section. Now, therefore, you are made a boss. Now you are looking after 3. But you know little or nothing on the other 2 sections. As a leader, if you want high performance, it will be to recognize and accept, especially to the other 2 sections, the fact that they know something better and that you need them. So inspire them to want to feel like you are not there, you are not lording it over them. Is very, very important. You see, one of the things that will bring you to fail, and I was going to say it in my next session, but let me say it now, is some of us who are promoted from below were promoted because we performed very well in a particular area. But that may be the reason will hurt the organization when you reach the top. Ever heard of this hotel manager who was employed by the hotel as a cook, as a chef? And he was certainly fantastic. He made eggs that became famous. Customers came from far and wide for breakfast because of the type of eggs he did. So they finally were so impressed. They made him the chief chef. But even when he was the chief chef, he used to concentrate a lot on the making of the eggs. But then finally they made him the CEO of the hotel. But even as a CEO of hotel, he always, every morning, he came through the kitchen to see, and he knew nobody can make eggs like him. You know what happened? By the time he is in the kitchen, the suppliers are looking for him in the office. He's not available. The customers are ringing him. He is not available. The organization started going down until the hotel was closing down. Why? He did not accept that his job at the very top is not to make eggs, and that there are people who may be below him and can do. So one of the weaknesses of that top performance is that idea of thinking, because you are the top, you know everything. Even in the area where you are knowledgeable, it's no longer your direct responsibility. Do not start directing people, telling you, even when I was doing this, I was doing it better than you. Since you can now do it, please recognize the ones that are now doing it now. That's the way to motivate them. Of course, if they have a question, you'll answer. But please remember, the job of the hotel manager is not to make eggs. If he makes eggs, who will do the job of the hotel manager? So I think that's an important thing. If you want high performance, that will be a very important thing. You know, the board believes in your ability to handle the challenge of the new job. So another thing that will prevent your good performance when you're always shaking, thinking that the board will not trust you. But the most important thing will be, if you really are going to help the organization to do well, be proactive. What does being proactive mean? Think 3 moves ahead. For you as a project leader or a manager, do not always do what is required now. Every day, you must allocate a bit of your time. Is it 1 hour? Is it half an hour? Not to do what is required and what is urgent, but to think about the long term. You know, dictatorship of the urgent, where the urgent things are the ones you are considering. But some of the urgent things are not important. Importance is measured on the basis of its contribution to the overall success of the organization. So some urgent things, even if you allowed yourself to fail in them, you will still be a great success. So you must be proactive enough to understand that everything must be measured with a long-term view. Go the extra mile early and often. Do not do the minimum or seek to delegate everything. I think I've already mentioned that. We are looking at the nitty-gritties of high performance. You must not do only what your job description says. You must go beyond the requirement of your job. And in the process, you will be passing on a culture that the people working under you will learn. Doing more than going the extra mile. I think the extra mile idea is a biblical idea. When somebody tells you to go 2 miles, go a third one with them free. Don't always look at doing the minimum. There's no need to gloat about your promotion to others. It will make your work more difficult. The moment you are promoted and you want everybody to know, do you know I'm your new boss? Surely, the circular went out. Why are you having to repeat it? That will act as a motivator. Don't gloat over your promotion. And anyway, there is also a likelihood, and I retired from Shell in top leadership. There is a likelihood that we promoted you because of certain aspects of you. But there are certain areas where the guy we did not promote was better than you. That's something you have to keep reminding yourself. So if you walk over people to get to the top, that's how you got to the top. Chances are one of these people will get even higher than you. And remember how you treated them. That's something you have to keep remembering. That although you are my manager today, it's very possible that in another 10 years, we may be in management together, in top management together. And then when finally they are choosing a CEO, I'll become your CEO. But at one time, I was working under you. I worked for Shell for around 30 years before I retired. Those things happened. I recruited some people. They are junior. I helped to develop them. By the time you are nearing retirement, those same people that you recruited the other day are now in the management with you. And because you are remaining 1 or 2, 3 years to retirement, they are likely to make you the CEO. They'll make them CEO. So be very careful how you are treating your team, because you are treating your future boss. However low they are, just give it. In 5 years, it will not happen. But if you are working 30, 40 years, don't be surprised when it happens. And if it doesn't happen in the CFC, it will happen elsewhere. You will discover yourself join Barclays. Then the other person joins Barclays over you. So it's very important to understand, if you want performance, you must not work with senior, junior. Leadership removes subordinates. Talks about followers, people who are committed to work with you. And the reason people will be committed to you is because you don't look down on them. So having the right attitude in your leadership would also mean having clear expectations. First thing you need to do is really understand your role. What is your job? What is expected of you? What do you expect of yourself? What does the organization expect of you? And what does your new boss expect of you? If you are reporting to the board, what does the board really expect? A misunderstanding or misalignment of your expectation is the fastest way to frustration and failure. So, as a new leader who wants high performance, study the company authorities manual. What can you sign for? What can't you sign for? What must you consult the board about? What do you not have to consult? Do not go consulting your supervisor on every item, including the ones you are supposed to make decisions. That's the way you know you are not a performer. Because you are delegating upwards, giving him work that he gave you to do. So, I'm assuming that your organization has an authorities manual, clearly indicating what each level, each manager is responsible for. Do it. Take the risks yourself. But on a matter that is supposed to be referred up, don't try to usurp authority that doesn't belong to you. You know, you also must look at your job and write down a list of the critical success factors. Not everything is critical. So what are the critical ones? If I fail in this and this and this, I have failed. But even if I failed in this and this, it will be uncomfortable, unhappy, but my organizational overall success will still be there. Please give a list of critical success factors so that you will put your attention to them. One of the critical success factors is inspiration of your team. Because you see, by being made a supervisor or a manager, it is clear you cannot achieve your overall mission alone. So it's a critical success factor, the kind of relationship you are having with your staff and whether they are inspired or not. So the other thing about having the right attitude in leadership is learning to move from the known to the unknown. Have a discussion with the person whose position you are filling if you're in the company. Why can't you talk to the person who was doing your job earlier? Get her notes on projects in progress and pertinent files she no longer needs. What we are talking about is, if you want high performance and you have just joined the job, please be willing to learn from the person who was there, even if they are leaving the company. Also ask for her impressions of your new staff members and for suggestion how they should handle and motivate them. What makes them tick? Learn from them, assuming they are available. Some may not be available. But one of the things I suggest to you, when you are a new leader and you want high performance, do not change things for the sake of it. Some people want my mark. I want to be known. That's one of the things that happened. I hope you don't mind my talking politics. That the more you wanted to be felt, so within a short time, a lot of things were changed. But my friend, when you change without giving given it time, you change some things that are working and replace them with things that don't work. A high performance leader is not after the name. Have you ever heard of the saying, they get things done who don't care who gets the credit? Now, it's very important to understand the idea of doing things so that you are remembered. No, you are not there to be remembered. You are there for the success of the organization. So do not change things for the sake of it. Look at the long-term value of anything. Then even if it's the one that your boss, you didn't like the guy who was there earlier, if it worked, why change it? Try the old way. After you have fully understood it, then you can improve on it. Rather than discard all old ways as wrong just because they came before you. Those are the things that help with high performance, especially when you are new in a job. But one of the things I will emphasize here is that you will never become a high performer if you are colliding with your leadership, with your boss. Remember I said every boss has a boss. The CEO has to report to the board of directors. Everybody has a boss. And if you want to be a good leader, you must allocate time to manage your bosses as you allocate time to manage yourself and allocate time to manage the staff below you. You need to manage yourself. You need to discipline yourself. But you also need to know how to manage your managers. You want to get to know your bosses and determine how you work together with them. What makes them happy? Don't just create a rough relationship because you insist on small issues working your way. Try to understand them. How and when will you communicate? It's something that will be important. What will help you succeed beyond the job description and more, according to your bosses. These things are critically important for your mutual success, both for your boss and yourself. See your manager as a person you help to achieve his purpose. Not a person who tells you what to do, but a person, you are his assistant. You are the assistant of the board. You are the assistant of the CEO. You are assisting him. So you are friends. Seek friendship with your supervisor. And support him. Don't embarrass him. Then you'll see he will leave you room. Once he trusts you, he will leave you room without interfering with you for your department to achieve. That's how you become a high achiever. We now want to do the second exercise and learn from each other. What skills does a high performer leader need to have good performance? Just list for me the skills that for you to be a high performer, this is the kind of skill you need. Then describe what one can do to improve such skills. Whatever skills you have listed, can they be improved or they are inborn? If they can improve, how do you improve them? So let's now write down Eric Moremi. If you are on mute. Are my questions clear? Oh, very clear. So we are now learning from one another what skills we need in order to be high performing leaders. And once we know those skills, we want to know, can they be improved? What can you do to improve them? So let's write down, Eric. And I'm happy so far, every time we are doing an exercise, you are bringing up very good ideas. Some of them I don't even know. They are better than my ideas. And that's why I like involvement, because even the facilitator learns in the process. So I'm also learning from you. Yeah, Joshua says, skills needed to be a high performance leader. 1, communication skills. So the next thing will be, can it be improved? The second one, listening skills. I guess communication includes listening, but let's separate them. Number 3, team building skills. Without them, your team will not be performing very highly. I agree with you, Joshua. Irene says, skills for high performer leader is to be a problem solver. He must be a problem solver. Another one, oh yeah, and it also Irene goes on to say how to improve them. Adopt a learning mentality. Don't think you know it all. Be open-minded. Be flexible. Be agile and willing to accept new ways of working. That will help you to improve your problem-solving skills. Then Catherine Masioki says, every high-performance leader requires people management skills, but also agrees that communication skills matter. Tirop says, Elizabeth Tirop says, problem solving, yeah, that is included. Team building, yes. Dependability. I think here you mean ability to be trusted, trustworthiness, dependability. And then he needs ability to teach and even ability to mentor. That way the team will become high performing. James Wabudo says, you must have, to be a high performer, you must have negotiating skills to negotiate with your boss, maybe. And you also need analytical skills. I agree with you, James. Michael says that he supports the idea of communication skills, but he also says you need interpersonal relations, and also you need coordination skills. The way to improve them is, please look for a mentor who you can bounce your challenges on. And try also benchmarking with others who are better in those skills. Why then not adopt the 360 performance review process, where your subordinate can tell you the truth about yourself, how you are working with them, and on the basis of their feedback, you are able to keep improving. Always ask for feedback, and you actually start improving those skills. Happy says you need communication skills, visionaries. You must have visionary skills, empathetic. You must be empathetic. That means ability to put yourself in the shoes of your staff. You must be accountable yourself, not just do anything. Then you can improve this through 360 review performance method. Joshua says how to improve the skills he mentioned is avoid being rigid, learn to listen fast before saying anything, then learn how to be able to learn. Learn to learn. Okay. Mase Duo says that the skills one needs is integrity and consistency in your action. You need competence in your work. You also need an ability to coach and an ability to mentor. But you also need excellent customer service skills for you to be a good leader, high-performing leader, where your customers may be your staff. Handle both internal and external customers professionally. Then your performance will improve. Anybody else? Anybody who has not shared so far? Not everybody has shared. Write something. Okay. Or you want to say it verbally? Our time may not allow us to wait any longer. Let me say that I agree with those comments. First, focus on interpersonal relations, or what I'm calling building of relationships. That is one of the most critical skills in the high-performance leader. If you are the type who likes creating havoc, anywhere you go, there will be disagreement, there will be conflict. Performance will just go down. You must have a skill to build teamwork. Expect a little resistance from the staff. You are coming from a different department or replacing a beloved supervisor. You need to understand, as you go to a new team to become their supervisor, they had a supervisor whom they liked. So they're not like you. So if you go there pushing your way, you'll make the dislike even higher. So you must learn how to win over people who don't like you initially. Accept that you might not be able to fraternize with your old colleagues once you receive promotion, because you can move from one section to another, and you have higher, and you have difficulty learning how to relate with the new job. Although you should remain on friendly terms, establish your authority so that they won't try to make advantage of you or slack off on the job because they don't think you'll be as strict as your previous supervisor. You know, in the name of trying to build a relationship, you could make your subordinates or your followers think that you are not supervising them. So therefore, they don't take your instructions seriously. That will be a weakness. You must create a good relationship with them, understanding that the way to support you, the way to retain your friendship, is to do what is expected of them. Invest time, therefore, in building relationship with your new peers. Invest time in building relationship with other groups, because your department is not a silo. It's working with other departments. Learn how, as the leader of your team, it must be easy to work with other teams. And also, of course, I've emphasized the importance of working with your boss and also working with your customers. Those are the relationships I'm talking about. And it will be important. You cannot achieve much, even one of them. You know, your new peers means other departmental heads. Because when you go for management meetings, they can support you or bring you down. Learn how to work with them, although you are not reporting to them. Respect them. Appreciate them. If you don't work well with your boss, I've talked about it. Anyway, more people fail in jobs because of poor people skills than any other reason. So, commit to relationship based on performance, not just conversation. And that's why I started with the PMS. But create a relationship where you appreciate everybody. Even a low performer, when he performs well in a certain thing, say, by the way, do you know that you did? It really built us up. Always learn, before criticizing someone, start by crediting him. Unless you are trying to fire him, if he is going to continue to be part of the team, everybody wants to be appreciated. And even a thief who breaks into your house, it doesn't kill you. You can congratulate him for leaving you alive. There is always something positive about anybody and everybody. And in building relationship, appreciating people, even non-performers, will motivate them to become better performers tomorrow. Now we go to improving their skills. And the first thing in building your skills is accepting you have a capacity or competence gap in a certain skill. And we mentioned many skills. What you need to build your capacity in, what is that gap you are having? You may not necessarily accept it to your subordinates or accept to anybody, but you know you have a weakness. So you need to make a list of those areas that you need to improve. Then make a plan on how you build the needed skills and knowledge you have a gap for. And of course, there are many ways. Some people have suggested having a mentor. Some people have suggested reading. You can have others are mentors. That's why I write books, so I can mentor younger professionals through my experience and my stories. So a book can mentor you in the area you are having difficulty in. You know, another area you need to build your skill is to build trust. And you start this with items you are equipped to do well. Celebrate the quick wins with those close to you, because this builds even more confidence. So do something that you are good at. Then people will start trusting your competence. Don't start with something you are not good at. Start with something. Let them see that there is something you yourself can do. Internally, you won't get much done without teamwork. You know that. Externally, you need partners with like-minded organizations that advance your strategy. Whether it's developing new products or breaking into emerging markets, you need to talk to others outside the organization. So you must create a network of collaborators, both internally and externally. That's how you become a high-performing leader. People wonder how you seem to get vision. It's because you have people, even outside the organization, who are helping to sharpen your mind. And you also are willing to listen to your subordinates, who are also giving you ideas. Another way of improving your skill on managing is the issue of managing change. That's an area you must be good at. You cannot be a leader. We said the focus of a leader is change, long term. So if you don't have that skill of managing change, there'll be a problem. First, view change positively with a sense of urgency. Let the team know why that change is so urgent. There's no point in fearing change, since it's inevitable anyway. And you can't control it. If you don't change it, it will change you. Second, focus on adapting plans to external pressures as necessary. And thirdly, it's important to manage the resistance to change from your colleagues. Find a way of what are they resisting about. Convince them that this is beneficial to the organization and to them. That's part of managing change, but you'll be discussing it tomorrow. But that's a skill that's critical. You cannot be a high-performance leader without change management. What about communication? We talked about it earlier. And I'm just repeating what you said. You must be a great listener, often visiting consumers, even going to their homes, visit them, joining them, especially if you are CEO, or going to a store where your products are being sold. Getting good ideas requires asking people for input and listening very carefully. That listening is part of the communication we are talking about. So that by the time you talk to your team, you have already gotten information. You will be talking their language. We should all be chief listening officers, if it could be said that, in an organization. Your team needs to know that, the boss is a listener. Can you see, when he made that decision, it was me who gave him the idea. In fact, it's good even to acknowledge that the idea came from one of your subordinates. But after doing all the listening, it is critical that you become a clear communicator of the revised vision. All the listening has made you change the vision, change the goals, but then communicate them properly. There is no way you expect me as your follower to follow you if I don't even understand where we are going. The other one you mentioned is willingness to learn. And that's what we are calling continuous learning. Lawyers are called learned friends because the Parliament continues making laws and they continue being students as lawyers. You know, work is always changing. Since challenges are unpredictable and competition abounds, there will be always things that are new. There's a growing body of neuroscience research that says we can learn new behaviors and modify deep-set behaviors at any age. I'll be 70 next year, but I'm still learning. You know, like in the last 2 years, doing consultancy on Zoom. It's been there. The other day I was helping an organization do their strategic plan. And of course, it took us about 3 months, and I never saw them. And I needed to learn with my associate consultants, teaching me how to put people in groups in Zoom. I am learning. The other day I opened a YouTube account. I'm seeking to mentor young people. So I have a YouTube account, John N. Nganga account, where I'm sharing. Again, it's a young person who taught me how to do it. If you want to be a performer continuously, you must be somebody who is never stopping to learn. It takes hard work, real focus, but all of us really can learn new and effective behavior and help take our organization to new levels of performance. So be willing to learn. Also, we must improve our skills in decision making. That's a critical decision making skill. There are people who are so afraid. I had a workmate who was so afraid of signing checks in case something odd happens. He will take the pen, sign in the air. They say, John, let me sign this tomorrow. And it's a check you need to do something else. So you have to go back tomorrow. Then tomorrow he takes the pen again, signs in the air. He is unable. That lack of ability to make decisions will slow down your team and it will slow down your performance. Choose an appropriate team that you trust. People who have demonstrated high performance, integrity, and the desire to assume greater level of responsibility should be in your team. If they treat others insensitively, assuming you treat others insensitively and abrasively, and put your self-interest above that of the organization, then you cannot be, your team will not follow you. Please make the best choice of strategy. That way you can make good judgment. Success depends on asking the right questions, experimenting, yes, and then constantly adjusting your appropriate strategy. That is what we are calling continuous learning. But one thing you must avoid in making your decisions, avoid overconfidence. Do you think that because something has worked many times before, will always work automatically? Then you are not a good leader. A leader must not say something, we'll do it because you have always done it that way. You must do a proper analysis. I told you one of my early jobs as a young person in 1979 was to be a business analyst. Always analyze things before making decisions, but make a decision. You know, ever heard of paralysis of analysis? There are people who are so involved in analysis, they never make a decision. I think a good leader must make a decision, but he must still analyze. I want to allow question time. I don't have time because that's what I missed the other time. But I'm again about to miss it. It's actually time is gone. But let me finish with this. Be happy with the promotion, but remain humble. Be happy you are the leader, but remember, as in most things in life, balance is important. You should absolutely be happy with yourself for earning the title of a leader. You also need to keep that all in context, and at least some of your joy in being promoted retain to yourself and your wife. Remember that the person in the next cubicle might have wanted your job, and you are now occupying it. Remember that you don't know it all. That summarizes what you have been discussing. There's no time for questions. The time is up. The meeting is back to Dr. Juru.